So in this video, I'm going to show exactly how I'm going to put this curtain pole up on the wall here. Now, I am going to be using my very trusty Kaiweets laser level and also this amazing tripod that I just got for it, which allows me to have the laser level a lot higher than just using a standard tripod. But if you haven't got a laser level, it doesn't matter. You may want to think about getting yourself a spirit level. This is going to be just as good. So get yourself a spirit level, or there is another way you can do it just by measurement. So if you haven't got a spirit level and you haven't got a laser level and you really want to get your curtain pole up, then just ensuring you've got a tape measure will do the trick. But you're going to need one of these for this job anyway. As you can see, here are the curtains that are going up, and they've got the eyelets, so we're not putting any hooks or anything on these. The pole is going straight through these eyelets, which does make it a little bit easier, and certainly easier to work out how high you want the pole. Now, I have done that already. The pole is going in the middle of this part of the wall here. So that's going to go right in the middle. I'm not sure how far out it goes yet. This isn't adjustable because what you've got on this one is this sleeve which goes inside the two poles and it joins them together. So I'll need to measure the overall length or find the middle and line it up. So that's not a problem at all. But I do know the height, but the only issue is I've got with the height is that if this is where the pole is going, the screw hole is not in line where the pole is. So what I've done is this really quick drawing. I wouldn't normally draw it, but I've drawn it so you can see. And by indicating or highlighting where the pole is in relation to where the first fixing hole is, you can see exactly the difference here, which is 8mm. So wherever the middle is, I need to make sure that the hole is 8mm higher than the middle of the wall. One of the big issues I find when putting up curtain poles is the wall and what I'm drilling into, because here you're going to have a lintel or a steel or something, and it isn't always going to be soft. So this is a dry lined wall. But if I do that, you can hear the difference in noise, where some bits are solid and some bits are more cavity. So you've really got to hope for the best with this, because I know exactly where I want my curtain pole, and the middle bracket needs to go in the middle. So I've got no choice other than to put it here. Now I'm going to be using these drywall fixings, which are really good. I use these a lot and they are really strong and really reliable. But what I do find sometimes is that you might have only a small amount of space to put the fix in, and then you might find that there's the lintel or some brick or something. But if you have got a brick wall and it's solid, then no problem. You can just go ahead and throw a wall plug in there. But if you've got a dry lined wall and there's brick behind it, then it makes it a little bit more tricky. So what we'll do, we'll find the middle, we'll mark it up, and we'll just make the first hole just to investigate what's behind there. This tape of mine has got a magnet on the end, so it makes it really easy to attach to the corner there where you've got a metal strip. And then I can just go ahead and put a little mark where the middle is. So this is 2.2 wide, this opening. So 1.1, 1100 mil. So I just need to go ahead and mark it. But I haven't got a pencil. Here we go. Now I've got a pencil. So 1.1 here. And what I want to do is try and get a line that's roughly vertical here. So what I could do is add 880, which is the part of the wall here beyond the reveal, and add that to 1100 and measure it, mark it, and then I've got a line. You might want to draw a line, but maybe not if you don't want to ruin your wall. You could put a laser level, sorry, you could put a spirit level at the bottom of your mark there and level that out. You could do it that way, or if you've got a laser level, then use that. Great, so the laser level's on. I've lined it up with this point here. And the great thing about using a laser level is you've got the line on the wall and you haven't actually got to mark it with a pencil. So I can put my tape along the line there. The measurement is 296. Half of that is going to be 148. So 148 from here to here, but I do need to go up 8mm because of the difference or where the actual fixing hole is. So by going up 8mm, that's going to make it 140. So I can put a mark here where 140 is. That's where the first hole on our bracket is going to be. So the middle of this is 8mm lower than where this hole is. So what I'm going to do is I've just got a really thin masonry bit, and I don't even need to have it on the hammer action because it is only going to be plasterboard for now, but I'm just going to drill that out. And there we go. So plasterboard, and then it goes in and then it hits something a lot harder. And what I can actually do by holding the drill there and put my finger on the bit, I can see exactly how much room I've got. Now I think I might be all right, but what I'm going to do is just drill it a little bit. And that's great because that's actually really soft behind there. So whether it's just a brick or a breeze block there, that's perfect. That's really good news. You can drive these in with a hand screwdriver, but I do like to use a drill. And you can just feel the resistance on that, how strong it has really pulled in and anchored itself into that plasterboard. So I'm really happy with how that one's gone in. What I need to do now is mark where the hole underneath is going. So with the laser level, obviously I've got a nice straight line there. But what I need to do is mark the bottom hole. Now the great thing about putting the screw in at the bottom, you don't actually have to put it anywhere in particular. It does have this kind of keyhole slot which allows you to put the screws in and then literally just sit that in and slot it down. But you can't actually do that when you've got this bracket on, so it gives you the option here to put the screw wherever you like. So even if I get it a little bit wrong in terms of where it's going up and down, it doesn't matter because as long as it drops right down onto the top screw, that's really all that matters. So I'm just going to go for the middle there. Take that off hammer for now. Just to get that started through the plasterboard. Then I've hit that wall again, so let's put it onto hammer. There we go. I'm going to open that up very slightly, just for that plasterboard fixing. There we go. Now what does tend to happen with these fixings, as you can see, it will tend to break the plaster out a little bit. So once the bracket goes on, it should look okay, but you can always just touch up a little bit of that afterwards. This has now given me my reference point for the other fixing. So the next thing I need to do is work out how far along I want the end brackets to go. And the end brackets basically determine where your curtains are going to stop. Because when you pull the curtain, you don't want the whole curtain moving. The point in having, one of the reasons for having a bracket on the end is that you can put the loop of the curtain behind it so it actually stops it all moving along. And based on how long your curtains are, may determine whereabouts you put that bracket. It's also about how it looks, because what you don't want to do is have the bracket, let's put it around that way, right at the end of the pole. Not if you can help it. It's going to look more aesthetically pleasing if you've got some of the pole beyond the bracket. And of course, this is where you'll put the last eyelet of the curtain to prevent it from being pulled over. So it actually stops it from all the curtain moving. So what we need to do then is to work out roughly where we're going to put these. With the two sections of pole together now, we can see roughly how that's going to look and how far over it's going to be. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to put a bracket in the middle of the window reveal and the end of the pole. I think that will probably look the best, I think. Yeah, let's do that. The whole length of the curtain pole is 2870 and the reveal here is 2200. So that leaves me with 670 more pole than the reveal. So I need to divide that in half, which is going to be 335. So if the pole hangs over 335, I'm actually going to put the bracket right in the very center, I think, of the whole overhang. So that will be 167.5. 167.5. So I'm just going to put a little mark there, really small mark, so I can always touch that up at the end. So 167.5. I do exactly the same over here. 167. Let's make sure that's pushed in. 167.5. So these marks are going to be exactly where the brackets are going. Now again, what I could do here is grab the laser level and line it up with the mark here, and that's going to give me a dead straight line. You can mark it whatever you need to do. If you haven't got laser spirit level, as we've already discussed, what you could do, it's not necessarily ideal, but what you could do is just measure down from the ceiling. Now, if you've got a very wonky house and your windows are like this, and it might be an idea to actually measure from this line here, because if you've got a wonky ceiling and a wonky window, what line do you follow? You might want to consider just following the top of the window. It's entirely up to you. It's always going to be a tricky one because something's always going to look out, but hopefully if everything's level, then it should be okay. So what I'm going to do next is put the laser level back on, get it up to this line here so I can mark these two spots. Now I could get the cross laser level and have this line and this line together, but instead what I'm going to do is just measure that distance there, which is 625 from the wall, and then I'm just going to do exactly the same here. So 625 right there. So from there it's 710. So I can put a little cross along the laser. Now just to make things a little bit easier without using the laser level, I'm just going to use the spirit level and just get a plumb line down from that line there. All marked up. We've done these two. I'm going to drill these out now and then we'll get the pole up. Before I put these up on the wall, just want to show you these brackets and what they look like. As I've said already, they've got this support in them here, which makes them a lot stronger, which is really good. But you can also adjust them. So they've got a screw under here. You can loosen that and you can actually adjust how far out you have the pole. So I'm actually going to have it all the way in. I don't need it to be far out at all. So we just do that up and obviously that locks it into place. If we have a look at the back, you can see these keyhole slots, and you could probably get away with just keyhole slot in the first one and then putting a hole in the second one. But to be honest, what I like to do is taking these apart. So actually take that off and put this part of the bracket up on the wall, get it nice and tight, and then I can add the other bits and put it all back together again. Solid. Get the bottom one started. Make sure it's all the way down. Top one tight. Let's jump a little bit, this bit. That's really tight. Before I put this all together again, just want to show you this grub screw here. So once this is all put together, this is what we'll use to tighten the pole into the bracket. So I have made a silly mistake here, and I'm not going to edit the video, but I should have put this bit on here before I put that bottom screw in. So I haven't got to touch the top one. It means I can just undo that one. Need an extra pair of hands here. And then put this bit onto here. Like that. And before I do that up all the way, we'll put this bit on, screw that up into there. Make sure that's all the way back. And then we tighten that up there. And then we can finish that off. There. That's what we should have done. I've removed one of the finials from this end of the curtain pole. So we'll just put this up like this for now. And then what we'll do, we'll take one lot of curtains. So we do want to make sure that the first curtain or the inside of the curtain goes inwards. You don't want it outwards like that. So I'm just going to loop or line up all these eyelets, because that will make it a whole lot easier to get on. So we'll do that. Pop that through there. What I need to do then is just put one of those on the outside of the bracket, so that'll prevent that from coming right over. And put that back in the middle. I'm going to grab my Allen key, which is what you need just to tighten up these grub screws. We'll just put the finial on the end as well, and that's just fixed on there also with a grub screw. That doesn't need to be tight at all. Just put one of those beyond the bracket, like so. Then we can do that grub screw up on the pole. It's a little bit awkward. Put the finial back on. Just do that grub screw. So it literally just grips it. And then we can put the, or do this grub screw up. Feels really good, feel really strong. Happy with that. There we go, perfect, job done. So that's one of the ways in which I go about putting up a new curtain pole. I want to give a big shout out to Sarah and Giles once again for giving me their curtain pole. Really appreciate that, guys, thank you very much. And also a big shout out and thank you to Kaiweets for their laser level, their 360-degree laser level and tripod. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Let's get this down now.